A massive thank you to Augustin, Nick, Leg, Sean and Malthy for subscribing to the channel. If you want to be featured in these clips, make sure you subscribe down below. Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we'll return with round 20 of Season 4 of the F122 My Team Career Mode. Yes, we're back, ready for the Mexican Grand Prix. If you missed out on the last video that went live from COTA, I would highly recommend going back and checking out 3 races to go of this season. And a sprint race, but yeah, things are really heating up at the top of the championship. Like I said, there will be spoilers in just a second, but quickly as well, before we jump into that, super close to 98,000 subscribers now, so, you know, I know I keep saying it, but trying to hit 100k before the real-life Bahrain Grand Prix next month, so if you're not already, please do click that big red button, it would be greatly appreciated. But championship-wise then, currently 25 points between myself and George Russell as we head into the final 3 races of the year. Of course, Constructors already wrapped up a long time ago, but it will be 212 Motorsport doing the double this season. The question remains, which of the 212 Motorsport drivers will be walking away with the crown? We had a very successful US Grand Prix last weekend. Of course, the Mexican Grand Prix does hold mixed emotions in my heart. Last season here, we had a mega battle with Lewis Hamilton on the final lap of the race. Didn't win that one, and then we lost the title by a single point to Valtteri Bottas. So yeah, maybe we can apportion blame last year to this weekend. So ideally this time round, we want to try and, you know, get that win on the board there, continue closing up the gap to George Russell in the championship. But of course, we know reliability can change anything in this sport. Let's get into it though. It's Mexican Grand Prix time. Go then. Regulation changes ready for Season 5 of this series. What are the departments are they going to be on? Powertrain and durability then, so a big change up on the power component side of things. As you might be able to see if I just move myself down the screen slightly, just above me, we've got 91,000 R&D, so we're not going to struggle to get that all sorted. But yeah, some of you have asked me whether I'm going to start removing free practice from these videos. It's kind of becoming a pointless feature. Let me know down in the comments below whether you'd like to see it return. I mean, normally nowadays it's just a bit of a meme at the start of the video. But yeah, let's jump straight though into qualifying today, something a little bit different. Well, after spending 20,000 R&D points ready for this weekend, we are heading right into the nitty-gritty part of qualifying here in Mexico City, and honestly, this is actually one of the few tracks on F122 that I've still got a good chance of fighting for pole position. So we wind our way through the final couple of corners. Q2, George Russell and I both down into the 114s there, just over a tenth of a second between us, and my lap wasn't perfect, so we can definitely get one nailed. We've got a shot to be on pole position here for the Mexico Grand Prix, but getting that lap nailed is no easy feat. Big lock up down through the stadium, but we do just about hang on to it. Not going to be the best opening lap in the world, but rounding out the final corner, shortest run up towards the start-finish line, over the curbing on the inside, 15-1. Neither George or I have got a decent lap on the board, 5th and 6th currently. Charles Leclerc is currently the pace setter on a 1:14.4, a mega lap by the Ferrari driver, who of course lost the lead in the US Grand Prix with just a handful of laps to go last weekend. Ferrari always, every year, seem to come on strong towards the end of a championship campaign, apart from the very first season we did of F122, where of course Charles Leclerc absolutely dominated to claim his one and so far only Formula 1 World Championship. But yeah, we need a lot of time. George Russell as well is on a run, so are we going to see him boost his way up the order towards the front? We focus on our own lap though. So that's a nice chunk of curb through turn 1 and turn 2. George Russell, it doesn't look like, unless he's now just starting his lap, it doesn't look like our teammate's going to improve. So now, the pressure is all on my shoulders. way through the final corner. I can't look at the delta. 6 tenths up. Where have we found that sort of time at the final turn? It's P2 on the grid there, just behind Charles Leclerc. I thought we might just have done enough, but honestly, we'll take it. We're ahead of George. That is critical. I mean, look at that. 5 cars from 5 different teams with 5 different power units, all inside the top 5 there, ready for this Grand Prix. Absolutely love to see it as we head towards the Mexico GP. But Charles Leclerc couldn't quite take the win last weekend. Ferrari, McLaren, and even Alpine look very, very fast here, though. What are we going to be able to do? Again, this is a must-win race. Every single race is a must-win race for us at the moment. But George Russell, perhaps cracks are starting to show in what has been a very, very tough armour this year.
Welcome to Mexico City, the most popular city in North America, and home, of course, to the Mexico City Grand Prix. It's a sellout crowd as usual here at one of the shortest circuits on the Formula One calendar. And who, I wonder, will they be cheering on the top step of today's podium? The Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, 2.6 miles of track that allows drivers to take full advantage of their cars, reaching speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour. And providing lots of opportunities for overtaking. The circuit features 17 corners, 10 to the right, and the remaining 7 going to the left. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And Mr. Monaco completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Gasly, George Russell, and Ricciardo, Perez, Ocon, Oscar Piastri, and Guan Yu Zhou, Théo Pourchaire, Tsunoda, Robert Schwartzman, and Norris. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Ticktum, Albon, Nicholas Latifi, and Jehan Daruvala, Drugovich, Magnussen, Stroll, and Mick Schumacher. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. And alongside me once again for coverage of today's race is none other than the great Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Mr. Monaco. They need to win in order to ensure they stay in contention for the championship. Anything outside that, and their fate is no longer in their hands.
And they can do it for sure, as long as they don't dwell too much on the position. At the end of the day, there's only one way to go racing, and that's to give it everything you've got. Either your best is good enough to stay in the hunt, or it's not. There's no point giving any less than 100%.
Only 3 races left. You still have a chance of the title, but we're going to need some special performances. See what you can do, mate.
Well, there we go. Anthony Davidson and Mark actually both giving useful advice this weekend. Was not expecting that, though, into the Mexico GP. Rain is meant to hit the circuit towards the end, and when it arrives, it is going to be falling thick and fast here. I don't know whether rain can fall thick, but we've said it now, so we're going to stick with it then. This could change up everything in the Drivers' World Championship between myself and Russell. I'm going to give ourselves one extra click of front wing. Of course, we know just how much aero we're running in comparison to most other drivers there. Running slightly under on the fuel might be a bit of a gamble. But yeah, George out of position and on mediums, so things are going to get interesting. Of course, we might see the rain arrive early as well. That's always a possibility on F1 22. Right, let's do this thing then. Mexico GP ready on the start. Again, George Russell a bit further down the roster, so it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on today. But we've got both of the previous F1 World Champions just in front and just behind us there from this My Team series. Charles Leclerc, of course, won Season 1. Bottas with Season 2 and Season 3. Neither of them will become World Champion this year. It will be a 212 Motorsport car. But ready on the grid then, waiting for the cars at the rear of the field, the Aston Martins and the Williams. We need to get a good start here. We need to make sure we're ahead of Russell at the first couple of turns there. But the rain could affect things as well here in Mexico. Let's see what we can do then. Waiting on those 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go. We're just trying to modulate the wheel spin as best as possible. We'll lose the 1 place to Bottas, but actually one of my better starts on F1 22, as we should be able to defend from Gasly and Russell in towards the first corner there. I'll make sure I give Pierre the slipstream down in towards that first turn, but it has allowed George Russell an avenue there as well. Someone trying to dive it up the inside through the first corner there. Didn't quite catch who that was. I think that might have been a Ferrari. I don't know. Yeah, it was Daniel Ricciardo. Almost did, of course, what he did to Bottas in real life 2022 here in the Mexican Grand Prix. But Charles Leclerc, Valtteri Bottas, just in front of myself as we wind our way through this middle sector then for the first time. Of course, all three of us on the soft compounded tyres, so we do need to work with each other early on in this Grand Prix to try and break free there, as Pierre Gasly still hanging on to P4 ahead of George Russell behind us. But monitoring how those guys get on today is going to be absolutely critical there. The game does believe the one stop is possible from softs over to mediums, of course, weather dependent. But often this race has actually been a two-stop in the past, so we'll wait and see what happens with that. But into the Forest Soul on this opening lap then. Charles Leclerc already just trying to build up a little bit of a gap. We know how Ferrari, McLaren are able to keep up with us over one lap pace this year, but get into a race and often we've just got a little bit more there. Charles Leclerc 1.5 seconds clear at the end of lap 1. We've got Bottas between us though, the two-time. Got to try and get round him first. Oh, Bottas a bit of a wobble as we head through the middle sector there. Got to be very, very careful. You don't want to do that too many times. Bouncery is Gasly, George Russell already dropping back rapidly early on in this race. They're clearly struggling to fire up those medium compound tyres. But Bottas here already just a couple of little slip-ups here and there. Surely we're going to be able to move past him sooner rather than later. DRS now enabled as we start lap 4 of this GP, but honestly, the top-end speed doesn't look very competitive in this car. How many times have I said that over the course of this campaign? But now we have got the DRS though on Bottas. It should give us an even bigger speed advantage as we head back down towards someone. There, of course, battled with the Finn before around this circuit last year when there was a championship on the line between us two. So around, you can see Bottas not afraid to get his elbows out. Where is this Bottas in real life? That's what I really want to know. There, it's to the outside we go, up in towards turn 4. Make sure he doesn't do what he did to Kimi Räikkönen all those years gone by. No, we make it through clean and tidy there. Bottas might try and come back at me off the exit. Almost runs into the back of me, so we will be back up into P2 then of this Grand Prix. There is Russell still in fifth, going to have to monitor his progress throughout the entirety of the afternoon. There is a little bit offline, but Charles Leclerc already with a 2-second lead. He's trying to run away like crazy early on. Here comes Bottas though, back in towards someone there. The Flying Finn not wanting to give up on this battle just yet. Again, we'll just hang on through the first turn. First complex corners there. It's George Russell now trying to complete the move on Pierre Gasly. They're going to be side by side heading out of the first few turns as well. I think Russell has made that move stick as well then. So George and I both making progress early on, but Ricciardo now as well trying to get in on the act. Gasly will lose yet another place by the looks of it. No, he hangs on.
To 15 minutes.
Alright, okay, that rain predicted 10 to 15 minutes away. It's only about 8 to 11 laps or so, so it might be now a bit of a gamble. Trying to get the softs all the way to the wet period, of course, like we saw on the pre-race radar. When it does rain, it's going to rain really heavily, so we've got to be prepared to bolt on the inters, maybe even the full wets, pretty much as soon as that rain arrives. Ooh, yellow flag, someone's got issues. Who's that? Going slowly in this Grand Prix. Don't say it's oh, it is Valtteri Bottas. No! The McLaren out of the Grand Prix there, and that's unfortunate for us because it promotes George Russell into P3. What has Bottas done there? He seems to be continuing to go. I'm guessing he just looped it. Riding on board then with Valtteri Bottas as we head in towards the stadium section. Just lap 6 of this Grand Prix there, and mate, you're 30 laps early for the donuts. Bottas, their big mistake early on in this GP. He's going to re-emerge though, try and get back onto the circuit, but he has lost a lot of time and even a couple of places for his troubles. Well, that was scary. Big wobble as we went through the S's there, and we've just been starting to build up some confidence, trying to take time out of Charles Leclerc, and now that gap's back up to almost 3 seconds again.
Okay, expect to see some rain about 10 to 15 minutes from now.
Well, that's hardly helpful, is it? Teams still reckon the rain is 10 to 15 minutes away, so I think we're going to have to go back to our normal strategy then of just bolting on the softs when we box, which I think as we round through the final corner, they are about to tell me is this lap.
Okay, the
Look at that.
window's open, so let's box this lap. Box this lap.
Not sure whether it's worth coming in or just trying to extend the stint 1 or 2 laps longer. The gap to Russell has pretty much stayed even. I would like to try and get some DRS off Leclerc. Let's say if we're within DRS, we'll go 1 extra. If we're not, then we'll box. Oh, there we go. Leclerc into the pit, so at the end of lap 12. So we have got the DRS, and we are going to now be attempting the overcut in this GP. First time today, we've actually led. Charles Leclerc's done a very good job early on there. Really is becoming a thorn in our side late on in the campaign. But at least we know Russell is probably going to have to box as well before this rain comes, because that was the big thing I was worried about. I'm guessing he's doing medium hards again? Surely the team have got to have learned after the US GP. Surely. Felipe Drugovich out of the Grand Prix. The day he would have wanted there. 2 Haas DNFs in 2 weekends. Round our way through the final couple of corners. Remember to pit at the end of this lap. Map 13, so we're going to have to do 23 laps on a set of the mediums. They're just about to get the car slowed down in towards those final couple of corners. And it looks like Charles Leclerc has come out in some traffic then in this Grand Prix. So we might just have lost a little bit. We relinquished the lead to our teammate George Russell in this GP, but where are we going to re-emerge then? We are going to come out in that big gaggle of cars somewhere. It's one of the Red Bulls diving into the pit lane. Are we going to be ahead of Charles though? That's the big question, as you just try and manage the wheel spin on pit exit. There is Charles Leclerc, so we haven't got the jump on the Ferrari car, as he's going to go side by side with Yuki Tsunoda back down in towards the first corner. Of course, we've got to try and fire up these tyres. There is a big brave dive bomb coming in from Charles there. Of course, we all know just how feisty Yuki can be behind the wheel of that AlphaTauri car, or any other car he seems to find himself behind the wheel of in F122. But yeah, overcut has failed. We've got to keep on fighting Charlie boy. Tyres up to scrub then to the inside of Yuki Tsunoda. Thanks for that, mate. Yeah, I really just don't like giving you room through there, do they? But Tsunoda will hang on to the place for now, but we're going to have the DRS, so surely this one is going to be a done deal there, as Teo Porcher into the pit lane as well. Surely Yuki's not going to be able to do much now as we head back down towards Turn 1. But look at the gap that Charles Leclerc's already pulled away from me. So he's now going to be battling with Zhou Guanyu up the road. I'm going to cut back in front of Yuki there, let my feelings be known in towards the first corner. But Charles can't get round Zhou Guanyu. That's quite a surprise. And it just looks like Guanyu Zhou has got still within the range of the cars in front of him. Still none of the medium runners hitting into the pit lane. This has really hampered Charles Leclerc over this last lap, as we set new fastest lap of the day then, so that's good to see. Are we going to see Charles be able to make the run this time around back towards Turn 1? I mean, look at this, we've got nothing there. It's 2 by 2 in front of us in towards the first corner. Oscar Piastri and Esteban Ocon duking out. Of course, these two could have been teammates in real life 2023 had things gone a bit differently there, but Oscar Piastri will, I think, just about complete the move. And look at Zhou Guanyu trying to get involved in it. Just behind there, Charles Leclerc again not able to make anything happen, as we're going to go to the outside. What on earth is going on in this Grand Prix there? All 3 cars have just, well, 4 cars, sorry, have almost come together there, as we're still on the inside of Charlie boy. Almost completed a 4-car overtake there, as rain now predicted very, very soon. That was a big old gamble from us when we consider the bigger championship ramifications, but we almost pulled it off. Luckily, we walk away with no damage or anything like that. I mean, look at the grip we've got over these old medium compound runners there to the inside of Zhou Guanyu. Whoa, they broke early, but we slow it down. We could have stalled that one out a lot more, to be honest. We actually got it stopped quite nicely. Ocon, though, to the outside of Oscar Piastri, back down in towards Turn 1. Who's going to be able to win out in this situation? Whoa, Ocon very, very early on the brakes there through the first corner as he tries to avoid the Australian. Are we going to be able to get a run up, though, in towards Turn 4? We are losing so much time watching all of these cars battle it out, as Ocon won't try and go for the move in towards Turn 4. I think about it, but not quite brave enough to send it there. Can we get a switch back off the corner? Are going to get to the inside of the Frenchman there, and now up into P4 then of this Grand Prix. So plenty of action still going on around this Mexico GP circuit. It's Oscar Piastri, just see there, wobbling as he heads through the middle sector, but going to try and get a run on the Australian as well, of course, our former teammate in this series. Are we going to be able to go for a big dive? Whoa, we're going to have to! Big dive bomb there on Oscar Piastri in towards Sector 3. He broke a little bit early, and I was trying to avoid him, as George Russell, here Gasly now into the pits as well, so at least we know that they're not going to the wet period on their tyres, but they're both surely going to be bolting on a set of hards. So we are going to be back into the lead then of the Mexico Grand Prix. But George Russell is not going to be far behind us. We have lost a lot of time in all of that battling, but Charles Leclerc, luckily, still between us. Oh, there's the splash. The rain has arrived. Now, I know I sometimes get questions from you guys about what I mean when I say the flash. It often doesn't pick up in recording, because it's only a few frames long and the bitrate doesn't like it. But it basically, when it starts to rain on F1, it has done since about F1 2016, if I remember, you just get a brief moment where it's absolutely pouring down. The whole screen gets covered in raindrops, but like I said, it only lasts a handful of frames. That's why it's known as the flash, and that's something you might not have known on F1 22. I can try and slow it down, see if it'll pick up in the recording. Engine warning lights just flashed up. Hopefully that's just component wear rather than a critical issue. Let's just wait and see. Yeah, gearbox, that's okay. Shouldn't hopefully have to worry about that. That really did scare me for a brief moment though, I'm not going to lie. DRS disabled. Is it time to make the call? Over on set of intermediates, then the team aren't saying anything just yet, but often we found on F1 22, the game likes to be a bit hesitant with these sorts of decisions. That's what we want to hear. We are going to peel into the pits then at the end of lap 22. So we start lap 23. Charles Leclerc opts to stay out. George Russell opts to stay out as well. This is a big, big gamble. And I know I've said it a lot today, but every gamble we take now has big championship ramifications. Once more, there is Gasly will stay out. Théo Pourchaire as well. They're all staying out at the moment. But are we going to have an advantage over the AI? We need this rain now to keep falling. Théo Pourchaire just a second up the road. We've got to try and move past him if we've got the pace advantage. That is the big question. These tyres feel alright through turn 1. That is a good sign immediately. No other car is still opting to pit in this GP, but this is definitely providing us with a small, certain advantage at the moment. There is all over the back of Pourchaire. If we wind our way through the last couple of corners, it might be giving us an advantage, but doesn't mean that driving in these conditions is any easier. As we get to 2/3 distance, 13 seconds behind George there is yellow flags out. One of the Alfa Romeos has got issues. Don't be a safety car. Is it Dan Ticktum that might be out of the Grand Prix? Definitely one of them. It is Dan Ticktum out here in Mexico, and we cannot have a safety car now. Otherwise that is going to completely ruin our chances and give George and Charles a free pit stop. To the inside of Théo Pourchaire that we just about muscle our way down the inside of the Red Bull car, and now we can monitor the gap to Russell once again. 13 seconds up the road. Surely the air are going to have to box for inters by the end. It's just a case of making sure we hang on to ours. Here we go. George into the pits at the end of lap 24. There's got more yellow flags out. One of the Williams now appears to have gone round. It is all happening late on in the day here in Mexico. Charles Leclerc stayed out there again. So Charlie Boy going for a big, big gamble, and that might haunt us in the Drivers' Championship, because of course that could mean that George Russell gets an extra couple of points here if he's able to get the undercut on Charles Leclerc, but no one really knows what to do in terms of strategy now. But we should be back into the net lead of the Grand Prix when Charles has to pit. Charles Leclerc into the pits at the end of lap 25, but there is no doubt in my mind George Russell will have now got the jump on the Ferrari car there, and that hurts us with our championship hopes. Any points could be critical come the end of the year there, as Charles Leclerc won't be out far behind George Russell, but it is now a 2-1-2 Motorsport 1-2 again. But unfortunately, yeah, it could have been Charles. It feels really weird trying to back up against your teammate, but that's the situation we're in now. Less than 10 laps to go, and now we've come across lap traffic in this race. Lance Stroll does jump out of the way, but it's always a bit sketchy when you get these backmarker cars in the way. You never quite know when and where they're going to lift out of it. But George Russell still sat P2 there, 3 seconds clear of Charles. Unless he makes a mistake, it looks like he could be, or should be, bringing home P2 here. So luckily, of course, we bagged that fastest lap bonus point. Just doing the maths in my head, if things were to finish as they are, the gap would be down to 17 points. Thank you, Kevin. Cheers, buddy. That got a bit close. You always worry then when the AI let you off, or let you past even. Sometimes they try to dive you at the next corner. I don't know why. It's just a weird little quirk, I think we'll call it, at F1 22. Next up though, Albon and Mick. Oh, that's exactly what I mean! Albon, why? breathe, Matt. It's okay. Wait, come on. Why do they do that? They let you by and then just absolutely steamroll you into the next corner. Alvin has almost just robbed us of a big World Championship hope here.
Here's some information on Russell for you. They've got an issue with their car. They're going to be slow.
George Russell then clearly picked up a mechanical issue towards the end of this Grand Prix. Will that now allow Charles Leclerc to get close to our teammate there? I mean, Gasly's, 15 seconds behind him, so it's going to have to be quite a big issue for Pierre to close in. But have we just... It sounds so cruel, but have we been given a lifeline here late on in the Mexican Grand Prix? Will Charles be able to split our cars again as Mick Schumacher? That blue flag left a bit to be desired. Team just warning us to be careful, but the Inters do feel fine. I spoke about how it might have to be quite a big issue for George Russell, and already that looks to be the case there. He's dropped over 2 seconds already on this lap. Charles Leclerc now is all over the back of him. Surely he's still going to finish P3 here. Well, I don't quite know how George Russell is doing it, but he's still, with 3 laps to go, able to keep Charles Leclerc at bay there. A Ferrari car just cannot find a way around him. I've spoken about this before on F1 22. When you get a wet line, of course, the AI just cannot find grip outside of it to make overtakes. So as long as Russell stays on that racing line, he's only really got to defend. Back down in towards turn 1 there. Charles Leclerc again will look to the outside of our teammate. But it does seem like George might just have enough top-end speed there to keep the Ferrari at bay. Right, let's see then Charles Leclerc as we start lap 34 of this Grand Prix. 3 laps to go of the Mexico GP, and is he now going to be able to get a run on our teammate George Russell as we head back down in towards the first corner there, to the outside of our teammate, in towards the first braking zone. You can see Russell's going to try and defend it as aggressively as he possibly can there, but Charles Leclerc gets the nose to the inside through turn 2. They're going to be wheel to wheel on the exits. They head out of turn 3 there, but Charles Leclerc, superior grip. We don't quite know what that problem is on George Russell's car, but Leclerc then up into P2 of this Grand Prix, and that is critical. Really? With 1 lap to go now they're telling me... Hang on a minute. They want me to pit 12 laps ago onto a set of mediums. I think we'll stick... What? That genuinely has got to be the dumbest strategy call I've ever seen on F1 22. But round in the final couple of corners to start the final lap of the Mexico Grand Prix, it is probably absolutely ready for full wet tyres there, but no one wants to gamble it because of course you won't probably gain the time quick enough towards the end here. Looks like Russell has got those issues sorted. He dropped behind Charles Leclerc as we saw, and then so far has actually been able to keep the gap pretty stagnant to Pierre Gasly behind him. But look at the puddles around this venue. I'm taking no risk whatsoever. I don't mind if I win this race by a second over Charles Leclerc. I just don't want to do anything silly on this final lap here, but this has been such a challenge in the Mexico Grand Prix, of course. Fully dry to fully wet this afternoon there. I mean, just look how much the car's sliding around, and of course we all know just how OP the AI can be in these conditions there. I mean, we've got nothing, absolutely nothing on this set of tyres there, as now Mick Schumacher is going to be all over my gearbox once more. The rain is definitely not easing off at the moment there, and we're just driving around like a grandma on this final lap. Charles Leclerc is closing in. Obviously, we did box earlier than everyone else onto these intermediate tyres as well, so these tyres have not got much left. No, they've got plenty of grip on them. I'm just useless, apparently. Seems to be the thing at the moment, but in towards the final few corners, I think they're actually very cold is the problem we've got, but I'm really not worried. As we see, well, we don't really see the fireworks going off around the Mexico Grand Prix circuit. In through the final couple of corners, we are crawling around towards the checkered flag, but it is going to be back-to-back race victories in this season. At the final corner, it's the win here in Mexico. The championship fight continues.
Absolutely awesome, just amazing, mate. Well done.
Not just victory today then, but the championship as well. What a spectacular season they've had. Congratulations to the whole team. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
Rain always has the potential to liven up a race and mix up the order, and they've taken full advantage of that to claim the victory today. It's always a bit of a lottery when the conditions are like this, but they've managed to stay on circuit and have come out on top.
Here comes your top three making their way down to the podium for what can only be described as a fantastic day for Formula One. So let's review the drivers' standings. Despite the best efforts of our championship leader, that lead has taken a bit of a knock today. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. Look at where they finished compared to where they started. It's not easy to cut through the field like that in Formula One, so it was a great effort.
With that result, the sport's newest team can no longer be touched at the top of the table. What an incredible journey this has been for a team many had written off a short time ago. They are the Formula One World Champions. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Mexico Grand Prix, and I'm not quite sure what Anthony Davidson's on about. I didn't really have to cut my way through the field there. Good strategy call by the team, and then of course we took the gamble onto the Inters a bit earlier than everyone else, allowed us a bit of time to play around with towards the end of the Grand Prix because we were really slow in those final couple of laps there. Charles Leclerc splits the 2-2-1-2 Motorsport cars once again, which means the gap to George Russell is cut down by 11 points come the end of the GP there. Gasly ahead of fellow Frenchman Pourchaire, Perez, Bottas, Ocon with the two Australians of Piastri and Daniel Ricciardo rounding out our point scorers there. Dan Tickton, Felipe Drugovich both failed to see it through to the checkered flag, and that means championship-wise, 2 races to go, 14 points. It could be a case that fastest lap bonus points decide this World Championship there. 2 races and a sprint. Of course, we need to try and win every single one we possibly can. If we were to win both races and the sprint, again, it would depend on fastest lap bonus points, so we've got to be really careful in these last few races of the campaign there. No other movement though in the rest of the championship. Red Bull further extend the gap over Alpine in the constructors, though they might be under a little bit of pressure from Ferrari come the end of the season. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well, and we'll be back very soon with more Formula One action. My team, this is going to be really spicy, and I even forgot, next weekend we're back at Portimao. You guys do not want to miss that. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.